I'm going to show you here today how to do a couple of the mineral tests. So one of the tests that you're going to be asked to do is streak. And for that you just take a ceramic plate and you take the mineral that you're interested in and you streak it across the plate. Now sometimes it will leave a visible mark there, sometimes it won't. This one here did not. That could be because the streak is white, or it could be because there is no streak. So what you do is you wipe your finger across and you see if you see any residue on there, and sure enough I see a white streak. I see white powder here on my fingers. It turns out there's also black ceramic streak plates, but I don't have any of those, and those tend to show white streaks just fine, but not black ones. And if you happen to have those, then you streak it across both, and if it's a white streak it shows up on the black. If it's a black streak it shows up on the white. If it's a colored streak of some sort, and this one here should have a colored streak. Notice this is a very gold colored mineral, but when I streak it here we get a very black line on it. I hope that shows up on the screen. It definitely shows up to me though here when I look at it. The downside is streak plates get dirty, so I always try to find a fresh spot, and I usually wipe it down before I do a streak. That way I know that there's no white there from, or residue there from another streak when I go to do my streak. Another test that you're asked to do is hardness. And hardness, we always start at the low end of the scale and work our way up. So the first test that you do is your fingernail, and you see, can you scratch it with your fingernail? And for any of these tests, the instant you can scratch it, you're done. But I scratch it with my fingernail here, and I'm having no luck. Now, I was one in high school who always bit my fingernails, so I never really had fingernails to test with, but you do the best you can, and you see what you come up with. If that doesn't work, then we work our way up the scale, and so then the next thing to test with is a penny, and the baggies have all your test materials in them, and so you try a penny, and it looks like here I'm getting a scratch, with the penny. So that tells me that the hardness of this particular mineral is somewhere between the hardness of my fingernails and the hardness of a penny, which, if I remember correctly, fingernails go up to 2.5, and pennies, you'll want to check me on this one. This is the one I'm unsure of, is 3.5, which means this mineral here right in front of me is somewhere at a hardness between 2.5 and 3.5. And so then we can record that hardness. Now, with a test like this, you have to record that as a range. You don't record an exact hardness, you record a range of hardnesses. There are better ways to test actual hardness, but we're not going to get into those. As a side note, if the penny had not scratched it, then the next one up is something steel or metal. Usually a pocket knife or a nail is recommended, and then from there usually you're trying to scratch a piece of quartz, and I don't have a piece of quartz right here, but you try to scratch a piece of quartz with it. The test kits don't have a quartz, so if it's harder than steel, then we're just going to leave it. The other thing you do is you can see if glass will scratch it, and if glass will scratch it, then you know that it's less than the hardness of glass. And for some of the field tests, it's trying to scratch the mineral, and for others of the field tests, it's trying to scratch something else. And that's just the way it goes. Beyond that, the test kits also have a magnet in them. It won't necessarily be a round magnet, but a magnet in them. There's a hand lens for getting a closer look at things.